What's up, captains? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Captain's Lifestyle Podcast because you knew that there would be a challenge involved. And what'd you say? You said, bring it on. So thank you, especially for the cause, which is to raise awareness for veteran suicide. So I am joined on this episode today by my friend and fellow Marine Corps veteran, Ben Chimirri, and we talk about the challenges that a lot of men are facing today and why it should be considered an extreme strength to reach out and ask for help when you need it, as opposed to what a lot of men think is weak. If you ask for help, that means you can't do it on your own. That is absolutely not the case. And that is what we are going to bust in today's episode, and as well as get you on a challenge, which I'm excited for you to join me and fellow veterans on this journey. So stay tuned to the end of this episode to hear and accept that challenge. Now, before we dive into today's episode, I want to give you a word from our sponsors, both of which are affiliated with the military. So first up, this episode is brought to you by HVMN, and specifically their new Ketone IQ Shots. These are liquid exogenous ketones, and we're going to take a shot right now. Really good for mental performance, mental clarity. It just really feels like I am awake and focused and clear-headed when I take those. It's also really good for physical performance. I take 2 shots or 2 servings before workouts, especially while fasted, and it is the most amount of physical endurance that I've been able to find from any type of performance enhancer. So ketones and breath work are the 2 best performance enhancers that I've been able to find. So combining those together in a workout has been hyper effective. And how they're associated with the military is they are actively working with the U.S. Special Forces to figure out, they're running studies on how ketones improve performance. Especially one of the studies that I am aware of is a study that they're doing to see the effect of ketones at high altitude. So anytime you're in mountain training where there's low oxygen, they're testing out how ketones can improve performance by raising endurance and energy in the absence of oxygen. So that's super cool that they're working with the Special Forces. To get the hookup on Ketone IQ and experience the level of mental clarity and physical performance that Ketone IQ provides, head over to hvmn.com, use code CaptainMorgan10. That will save you 10% on the world's best tasting exogenous ketones, because there are other ones out there and they taste like shit. This one tastes like rocket fuel because it is. Once you experience, you'll know. Next up, this podcast is brought to you by Lambs, this EMF blocking clothing that I've got on right now. It's made of silver, so it's almost like chainmail. Can't get stabbed in this shit. And if you do, you'll fucking take it out, stab them right back, because you're the fucking captain. You're savage. Anyways, back to Lambs and why I support Lambs is they block up to 99% of EMFs, which stand for electromagnetic fields, and that causes oxidative stress in the body. So when you're on your cell phones, when you're using your laptop, when you're around Wi-Fi and 5G towers, those are emitting these EMFs. And unless you have any sort of protection against them, you are accumulating oxidative stress in the body. That causes things like stress and inflammation. So wearing this shirt is essentially like wearing blueberries. It's the healthiest apparel you can wear because it protects you from that oxidative stress, just like blueberries are high in antioxidants, right? And Lambs is endorsed by Mark Devine, who is a former Navy SEAL commander and founder of SEAL Fit. So if it's good enough for Mark Devine and the Navy SEALs, and it's good enough for the captain, it's good enough for you too. So protect yourself from EMFs. Head over to getlambs.com, enter code Captain Morgan to save an exclusive amount of money. I forget the exact percentage on the world's healthiest apparel. All right. Now let's dive into today's episode with Ben Chimirri, and you can accept this challenge. Hello, and welcome aboard another episode of the Captain's Lifestyle Podcast. This is your captain speaking. I'm joined by one of my fellow Marine Corps veterans. Ben
What's
Chimirri
up?
is the
What's up?
founder of Ben Crafted, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Fuck yeah.
It's my own brand.
You just recently quit your job, right?
I mean, I basically reset my whole life.
Talk to me
Um,
about that.
so my wife and I, we were living in New York. Um, and of course, New York, like a lot of other places in the world, had to endure some pretty harsh restrictions put on the people. I was going to Stony Brook University at the time. My wife was working in Manhattan at the time. um, and both her job and my school mandated the COVID vaccine, and we just weren't about it. We didn't think we needed it, so we decided, all right, what's the best move for us right now? We don't have a lot of things. We don't have a lot of things tying us down besides family in New York. So basically, what we did, we said we're going to go to where we're going to be free and we're going to be happy, and we're just going to roll from there. So we both kind of just ditched everything we were doing and moved to Florida, the great free state of Florida. Um, and I've just been building some online clients. I've been working with people in person, kind of just building all that. She recently got certified in holistic nutrition. So we're kind of coming together and just building our own ultimate package of creating that optimal environment for people. And it's working. I love it. I have seen so much success with people. I'm so much happier in a place where, people kind of get it, and I'm working with people, helping people instead of just like following that mainstream structure and trying to get a job and blah blah blah. It's stressful, but I definitely think this is a much happier place for both my wife and I. And I'm happy to be here.
Fuck yeah. I get it, man. I get it. It is stressful and it's so fucking worth it. Like,
Absolutely.
I would not have it any other way, right? I
Yeah.
imagine it's the same for you. Like, yes, it's fucking challenging, and that's the point.
Yeah. I mean, like my wife said, she went from working a 9 to 5 to working 24/7. So, it's like you think you're getting so much more benefits out of, working for yourself and everything like that, but then the benefit comes from the work itself, and you're going to love doing the work. And that's really just the goal in my life, at least, because I'm just here to experience life and help some people along the way. And if I can make money while doing it and make an impact, then that's the American dream, in my opinion.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, that's you're living the captain's lifestyle, man. You said full stop on the fucking bullshit mandates and restrictions. You're like, I want to be free. Started doing your own
Absolutely.
thing. That's what it's fucking about, man. Just fully living through challenge, which is what a lot of men today are scared to face, right? They don't want that challenge. They want to stay comfortable and cozy, and that's contributing to a lot of problems in today's society. Do you notice that in your coaching? Like, men are hesitant to begin working with you. They give all these
Definitely.
excuses.
Yeah. I mean, something that, a big part of the coaching aspect of it is just figuring out the mindset to tackle, all your goals, and really just figuring out what your goal is, because a lot of guys are just walking through life trying to just make financial means and support families and their, get relationships, and it starts going so fast that you kind of lose track of yourself. And as a man, that stuff, you just got to bury it down and keep pushing. But no, that's not the way. You got to kind of take a step back and just look at the whole picture, and figure out what you want to do and why you want to do it. Figuring out that why is so important for people, because if you don't have the reason behind the motivation, then you're just going to lose the motivation. Something that I saw pretty recently that it really struck me, it was, what is an objection? So like a lot of people, like you said, they come up with the excuses, like that's an objection. So an objection is basically a story that you tell yourself, and it's embedded in fear. So you need to address it, because a lot of people just don't address these things. They kind of just create these stories around these excuses that they can just keep telling themselves. to stay in that safe zone, that comfortability. I don't want to give up my diet. I don't want to give up my food, my free time. Like, you're just hurting yourself. Like, take a step back, readjust, think about it, and you'll come to your own conclusions. Like, I'm really just there to facilitate your own progress. I'm not there to do the work for you. I'm not there to make it easy for you, because it's not going to be easy. No, what the fuck is life? Life's not easy. We're not here just to stroll in the park. Like, we're here to fucking accomplish shit. And it takes hard work, not easy work.
Fuck yeah. We're here to accomplish shit. I like that. And a lot of guys out there, they may think they're accomplishing shit because they're busy all day, but busy doesn't mean you're productive. Like,
Absolutely.
if you're busy all day and you hate going to your 9 to 5 job and you're not excited to wake up in the morning, what the fuck is the point of living? Like, if that's not a life to me. I made a post today about waking up and getting to work as a man and leaving the distractions and comforts of boys behind. I think most men today, they're more boys than they are men. They're seeking instant gratification. They take pleasure in their comforts, whether that's, they have to rely on their morning coffee in the morning. They hit snooze, and they're delaying their day. They're delaying taking action. They get stuck scrolling social media. And I say all these things because I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been stuck scrolling social media. I've hit snooze. I've been the boy who has lacked purpose, who has woken up. It's like, okay, well, what am I going to do today? And kind of wondering. It's like, no, like you mentioned, purpose. Now that I have that purpose, it's like I wake up and it's time to go. Like, let's make shit happen.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
And I believe a lot of that comes through overcoming and embracing challenge, right? Like when we were in the Marine Corps, and this is how bonds get formed too, is through, what's that quote? Blood is thicker than water, but it's more than that. It's blood of the covenant is thicker than water of the womb. And what that means is that, blood shed through challenge with other men forms a thicker bond than the water of the womb, meaning that if you're just related through birth, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. What matters is the challenges that you've had to overcome, and that creates a strong bond, not only with yourself, but with the other men who you've gone through that challenge with.
Yeah, I can see that because, I have guys in my family, people in my family who, we're just distant, and it's natural because we live in different places. We're at different points of our lives. We're not as close. But if I went back to the guys that I was in my platoon, and, I could not see them for a year and then see them again. And it's that bond's right there. That's not going anywhere. That's unbreakable. And it just feels like we were together yesterday. Like, it's a much deeper connection. And I rely on it, honestly, because I stay in contact with these people every day. I'm talking to somebody every day, whether it's through Instagram, Snapchat, texting, calls, whatever. Like, that shit keeps me going because, as a veteran and as a man, it's hard because there's not a lot of people who you can relate to. And most of the time when I'm meeting new guys, honestly, it becomes like a masculinity competition. And I'm not like that. I don't like to talk my shit or anything like that. I'll show my shit, but it speaks for itself. I don't have to speak on it.
Yeah. Let's change that phrasing. It's not a masculinity contest, because that's not true masculinity.
True.
Like,
you're right.
True masculinity does not need to prove anything to anyone, right? True masculinity is, we are certain of ourselves, and we don't need to compete against other alpha males. That's
divine masculinity. That's what that is.
That whole culture is like, that's the toxic masculinity, the ego driven, look at me, I'm better than you, all this and that. It's like, no, that's not what masculinity actually is. It's knowing yourself, staying true to yourself, living in integrity, that sort of thing. So are they open to sharing what's actually going on, or are they pretending like everything's good?
Sometimes it's different, but I've been out longer than I was in. So it's been over 4 years since we've been out.
Yeah.
As the time goes on, I see that people are more willing to open up because,
Mm,
the struggle gets stronger and you realize that you don't have those people around you to talk to.
mm,
I've had a couple buddies kind of reach out to me. I've had myself had to reach out to some people, and it's definitely an ego thing, where you think that you can handle it. It's not a big deal. They don't want to hear it. You come up with these stories, these excuses that are just preventing you from, just being comfortable and growing. And that's really what it's about. When you can get down and dirty with it and talk to somebody how you're feeling and your emotions, and it's not going to hurt, it's just going to make you feel better and they're going to understand. And we all want to talk to each other. Nobody's sitting there like saying, don't come at me with this stupid shit. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, fuck no, we're all there for each other. If we were there to, pick your ass up when you got shot or something along those lines, we're here back home to make a quick phone call, talk some shit out.
yeah.
It's just words. I feel like, as a man, it feels easier to push some weight than to open your mouth sometimes. And that's just an excuse. You got to take care of your mental first before you start just pushing away.
One of my favorite quotes is from my buddy Chase Tollison. He says, a lot of men are using the gym as an alcoholic uses a bottle of tequila, right? They're just going to the gym and, like you said, pushing these weights because the physical pain is easier to endure than the emotional suffering of actually telling people what's going on and talking through these things. And that is a huge problem in this alpha male, what's really toxic masculinity culture. The whole like man up thing. Like, yes, man up, but not in the way that most people think about it. Like, manning up is reaching out when you need support, is asking for help when you need it, is delegating tasks to other people because you can't do everything on your own. No man is an island. And the more that you suppress those feelings or whatever you've got going on, and you just try to do everything yourself, this lone wolf mentality, self-made man, that's all bullshit. Like, you're going to burn the fuck out hard. You need a supportive group of other driven, like-minded men. We need to talk about these things as men. Like, that doesn't make you weak. That shows strength. Because in order to go farther, like in order to achieve your goals, why wouldn't you ask for help? Like, if somebody has the solution who can help get you there faster with less stress, time, energy invested into it, why would you not ask for help? Like, it doesn't make you more manly to suffer in your own, pity.
Yeah.
Like, ask for
As
support
I
from
get
them.
older, I can see that my friend group gets smaller, and I can see all the guys around me, their friend groups get smaller and smaller and smaller. And eventually, if you just keep cutting people out like that and you don't open up to them, they're not going to open up to you. You're just disconnecting and you're going to be alone eventually, because if you just keep rolling and rolling, you're going to just leave those people in the dust. They're going to be like, you know what? He doesn't even talk to me. He doesn't have time for me. He's clearly busy. But these people are just coming to assumptions because you won't pick up a phone and just talk to somebody. And it's so easy. It is so easy to just talk to a person, call them, text them, Snapchat, Instagram, like their shit, comment on their shit. It's so easy to just stay connected through it all. And they have a lot of Facebook groups out there now. I live in Tampa, and there's one other veteran here, Giannotti. He lives like 20 minutes away from me, so we've seen each other a couple times, but you need more than that. And especially in your area, if you want to jump onto Facebook, there's a lot of Facebook groups out there, and there's a bunch of veterans on there, and you can ask any question. if you have questions, go on there and ask, because what does it hurt? Somebody's going to know something, or somebody's going to have some experience where it can relate or help you out and just get you along your journey. I know a lot of people struggle dealing with the VA. I've had so many issues dealing with the VA, and that's a huge issue for people dealing with mental health struggles, is that the VA will fuck you over countlessly. And that's something that veterans want to come together and deal with, because it's a mental health struggle. People sit in the parking lots of VA centers and shoot themselves and leave notes that say, the VA calls me to do this because they won't help me, or they won't pay my bills when they come to me, or they like, and I've had $15,000 bills sent to me. The VA says, fuck you, go deal with it yourself. You didn't do the paperwork on time, or whatever the hell. And, where do you go at that point? You go to your fellow veterans who probably have dealt with the same shit, and they're going to have better answers for you than the VA will. And it's sad, but even when you're in the Marine Corps or you're in the military, the people fighting beside you are the only ones who get it. So it's the same deal when you're out. The people fighting beside you in that journey, we're a lot closer aligned in our journey than me and some guy who never was in the military. And just sharing that experience, I have an immediate connection with people, and it's helped me make friends and reach out and build my network, especially. And that's really just helping me grow as a person, mentally, emotionally, and just build my experiences off of their experiences too.
Yeah. Pain is mandatory. Like, we all experience pain. It's your choice whether or not you suffer, right? We all experience pain, mental, physical, emotional pain. It only becomes suffering when you choose to play the victim of that pain, when you let that pain define who you are, and you just give excuses, right? Like, oh, the VA, this and that, so I'm now depressed and now I can't do this. It's like, motherfucker, go, like you said, go on any of these Facebook veteran groups, ask for help, reach out, improvise, adapt, overcome. Like, the only reason that you're suffering is your own self-limiting bullshit excuses that you're telling yourself, right? Like you mentioned at the beginning, it's just these bullshit stories.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so there's something I kind of have held dear to me for a long time now, and it's basically just, everyone has trauma, but whether you come out of that trauma seeing it as good or as bad trauma, that's going to make the difference in the life that you're going to have from it. So like, I lost my dad when I was 19, and that was traumatic for me, but I learned from it and I gained insight and I grew from it, and I didn't sit there, weep and wallow. Of course, I dealt with it mentally and I had my emotions, but I dealt with it. I didn't just pity myself for it. I see a lot of people out there who lose parents and they kind of just crumble after it, and they just use it as like an excuse to feel bad for themselves or feel bad for their situation. And I miss my dad, but shit, I got a lot of life out of him, and I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful to have learned from his passing and change my life for the better because of it. And every generation just has to keep growing and growing and fix your whole ancestry line of, that's what I believe, at least. We're all here at some point of your ancestorship. My grandfather, my dad, and then there's me, and I'm here to kind of fix that line of diet, exercise, masculinity, everything. Not that they were lacking in anything, but can it be improved? Of course, everything can always be improved. So when I have my son or daughter, whatever, I'm going to pass those traits on to them, and it's not going to be something that we just miss out on. And I'm going to pass that trauma along too, but it's going to be good trauma. It's going to be something that we learned from, not bad trauma where I just feel bad about it.
Mm.
You have to grow through these things. You have to suffer and endure to grow. And you shouldn't be suffering through it. It's just experience. Like if you were just born, breathe, eat, sleep, die, what the fuck happened in the middle there? Some shit had to happen. And it's all just trauma along the way. And you're just trying to get from point A to point B and have a good death. That's really all we can ask for.
Mm. And when you say dealt with it, I imagine for many people, the dealing with it, with whatever it is for you, whether that's personal trauma, friend, family member died, whatever it is, how most people deal with it, most guys, they go to the gym, right? They try to work it out. They try to suppress those feelings. They don't talk to anybody. They just deal with it themselves. I imagine that's not what you mean by deal with it.
Yeah. So, when I was younger, that's probably how I would have dealt with it. But as I grew older, I realized that it doesn't work and you're just going to exhaust yourself and never really accomplish anything. So there's a lot of ways that you can deal with these things. Something that I do every morning is just meditate. And even if it's 10 to 15 minutes, I sit there with my thoughts and then I write in a journal after. And it just helps me organize all that clutter because shit, man, the thoughts can be flying sometimes and it gets overwhelming. But that's why you need to take care of it and write it out. Go through each thought, go through your tasks, go through, the bad thoughts, especially. Just write it out and then you have that to reference back on. And then when you write shit out, it kind of makes it seem, simple almost because you feel like your problems are just huge in your own head when you have 10, 20 things going off in your head, but you write it all out, you're like, all right, this is what I have to do to kind of deal with this is just stupid, this, all right, I have to work on this, but you're identifying it, you're seeing what are your strongest fight, what are your weakest points, what needs to be focused on. These things you can't do it in your head, it's too much to control in your head. So you split it up, you organize it, and then you kind of just you prioritize time for certain things. You say, oh, what, I really don't feel comfortable in my own skin. I hate my body. And if you just leave that in your thoughts, it can be overwhelming and they just keep piling up. But if you write it down, you say, I don't like my body. And then you're looking at it and you're like, what the fuck am I going to do about it? Because now you actually have a continuing thought from it, not just a pile on thought. And you're going to grow from that and you're going to realize this is what I have to do. It's written down. It's so fucking simple. Go to the gym. All right. Go to the gym. All right. It's not enough. Eat better. All right. It's not enough. My sleep is the problem. But the fact that you're writing all this out creates that organization, that structure for you to go back to, reference, and understand what the hell is going on. Because if you just sit there in your thoughts constantly, they're just going to keep building up and it goes in one ear, out the other, and just in a big loop all around your head until you're literally clouded with just negativity and darkness.
Yeah. Write it the fuck down. All these thoughts, ideas you have spinning in your head, write them down. Only 3% of the population has written goals. The rest, the other 97%, are just dreams. So you can become part of that 3% simply by writing things down. And then from there, you can come up with actionable steps to achieve those things. So yes, solitude can absolutely help a man, right? And it's not the solitude of just, wallowing in your own demise. Like, write these things down, observe your thoughts. Don't necessarily believe them. You can observe them from a third, almost as if you're watching your own thoughts play in your head. And then you can write that down and kind of think about it. You don't have to associate your sense of self-worth with these destructive thoughts that you're having. So I want to read a quote from The Way of the Superior Man by David Dita, which is required reading for every man out there. In order to become a man, you must read The Way of the Superior Man. He says, a man rediscovers and fine-tunes his purpose in solitude, in challenging situations, and in the company of other men who won't settle for his bullshit. So as we talked about earlier, I think one of the major reasons for all of the problems that we're facing in society today is that men are boys and they're living purposeless lives. They wake up and they have no purpose. They don't know what they're put on this earth to do. So to discover that purpose, as he says, go in solitude, observe your thoughts, write them down, think about who you are, what is the legacy you want to leave. And then in challenging situations, make the hard choices, take ice baths, put yourself through grueling workouts, which we're going to talk about after this, a little challenge for veterans that I want to put out there for to raise awareness for veteran suicide and to embrace challenge. And then in the company of other men who won't settle for his bullshit. So again, reach the fuck out, ask for help. I have my private online men's community. We meet every single week. There's multiple veterans groups on Facebook. Anybody, talk to anybody if you need support, right? It's just stupid to keep things to yourself. So this challenge and why I wanted to have you on the podcast is I saw this 2,000 push-up challenge on Facebook put on by USAA to raise awareness for veteran suicide, and I joined. And then I thought about it, and I was like, that's only like 64 push-ups a day. That's fucking easy. Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? Let's make it 100 a day for a total of 3,100. And then go ahead, talk about what you posted after that, how you had to one.
I saw that you did 100, but I noticed that you did 3,100 total. So I was like, all right, he's doing 3,100 total because he's a 31. So I'm like, fuck, man. Like I was a 52.
To clarify for everybody who's not a Marine Corps veteran who's listening, a 31 is an MOS, so military occupation specialty. So 0331 was my MOS, which is a machine gunner in the Marine Corps.
And I was at 0352. I was anti-tank. And we worked hand in hand with machine gunners every day. So it was always a competition. Back
to that ego-driven toxic masculinity, right?
Yeah. We get teased because we're, the nerds of the infantry, and, truly we're all just in this shit together. So it's just, there's no meaning behind it, but it does raise the stakes, and it, breeds competition, which it's healthy competition. It's not toxic. We want everyone around us to be better because fuck, man, you're the guy who could save me. So I want you to be as best as you could possibly be. So I raised the stakes. I did 5,200. And of course, that's not the end of it, because we gotta meet somewhere.
I was like 5,200. That's cool. I like that. You raised it to 5,200, but that's still an uneven number. And I like working with even numbers. So I was like, might as well double what I was doing originally for 6,200 total, which is 200 a day. And then last night I watched the movie The Northman, which is a fantastic movie. Story about, have you seen it?
No, I really need to watch that. I've seen a lot of reviews on it.
It's fucking savage. And so after that movie, I was like, all right, let's step it the fuck up again. And now, as I'm announcing on this podcast to you, and there's no way that you can get out of this challenge, is we are going to be doing Murph every day for 31 days, except without the running, because I don't want to run. So 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats spread throughout the day. And it doesn't have to be all in one day. Like, we missed yesterday. So it's just cumulative. So the totals for the month of October come out to 3,100 push-ups. 3,100 pull-ups, 6,200 push-ups, and 9,300 squats, which if you do that daily, it comes out to 100, 200, 300. And for everybody who doesn't know, Murph is a hero workout named after the Navy SEAL Lieutenant Michael P. Murphy, who was awarded the Medal of Honor for his actions. And it's one of the most well-known hero workouts that most people do every Memorial Day. So that is the challenge that I am proposing to veterans out there to raise awareness for suicide prevention, because what is it, 22 a day? That's what it comes down to. 22 veterans.
The suicides, yeah. That's way too many. That's more. I seen the number. I don't know the exact number, but it was the comparison next to veterans who commit suicide and then people who died during combat in the past like 20 years. And it's, it's crazy, the difference. And there really isn't a lot of other things out there raising this awareness other than this one push-up challenge. And people do 22 push-ups a day. And as a Marine Corps veteran in the infantry, I'm sure you could feel this way too. 22 push-ups is not a lot. That is not going to make me think anything of you. I'm sorry. You could do 22 push-ups. I could do that, probably in my sleep. Not to sound like a dick, but
no matter who you are, like, you can do 22 push-ups.
Yeah.
Like, and even if you don't have arms, let's take it to the extreme. If you don't have arms, you could change this out to 22 squats, or to do something, essentially not being the victim of your circumstances and putting yourself through something. Right? So yeah, the 22 a day, that's ridiculous. That's not even like a challenge for really anybody. Maybe like the bottom 1% of the population. Like it's something. It's better than nothing.
I mean, if you're doing 22 push-ups and you're next to me in the Marines and that's all you can pull out, you're not coming on any of my missions. Sorry, buddy. You're sticking it in the armory, bro.
That's what I'm saying. We're raising the stakes for men out there, and just for veterans in general. So we took the 2,000 push-up challenge, raised it to 3,100, raised it to 5,200. Now we're raising it to a Murph every day. 3,100 pull-ups, 6,200 push-ups, 9,300 squats for the month of October. You in?
I like it. I'm in.
Let's go.
It's a hell of a challenge.
All right. If anybody else who's listening right now, which if you're listening, you're automatically in this challenge. If you're listening to this podcast and you don't accept this challenge, you just got to admit yourself that you don't have what it takes.
Yeah, you got to reflect a little bit.
If you truly admit to yourself that you don't have what it takes to do this right now, as a veteran, I don't imagine anybody listening is going to let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I could have heard you say basically anything, and I would have done it, because there's no challenge that I cannot take on, and I will not, give myself that belief that I can't do something, because that's not going to get me anywhere. I can do anything, and that's just what has helped me to get so far. It's just having that mindset, and your brain is a supercomputer. If you say something or you believe something, it's going to collect that information and ingrain it into your belief. So if you say I can't do this, then yeah, your brain's going to perceive that as you can't do this, and you probably won't do it. But if you just block that shit out, you say I can do this, I can do anything, you'll do it. And it's, every time I do a lift or a PR or anything like that, I picture myself doing it successfully, and that has helped me tremendously. And it's really just all about mindset, and challenges like this are huge for building mindset.
Fuck yeah. The mind is so fucking powerful. I've been fascinated with exploring the boundaries and the limits of my mind and different capabilities, and studying hyper successful people. And like another one you should watch is 14 Peaks. The guy who climbed like the 14 tallest mountains in 7 months, which the previous record was like 8 years. Like this man is fucking nuts, and it's all in the head.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm just like you. Like whatever challenge you would have thrown at me, it's like, okay, let's go. Like
Yeah, let's do it.
whatever physical challenge anybody could throw at you doesn't come close to what these veterans who commit suicide experience. Like they're gone forever, right? We can endure this physical pain for this next 31 days, right? So keep that in mind. If this gets difficult, just remember why you're doing it. Again, leading it back to the purpose. Remember your why. We're doing it for something bigger than us, right? To raise awareness for this this issue that should not even exist. Like the fact that this is a thing is just shows how much we need support right now. Like how much the script needs to flip to where reaching out should not even be considered weak in the slightest. It should be like, fuck yeah. Like celebrate that shit. The people who are asking for help, let's celebrate that. So then everybody starts to do this. Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to join this challenge, there's nothing you have to do or sign up for. I'll put the original link to the USAA Facebook challenge in there. I think it would be good to support all the people who are doing the 2,000 a month challenge. So go in there, support them, join the group. It's nice to support other veterans. But to join the challenge that Ben and I are throwing out, there's no sign up or anything. I do encourage you to post on social media to get other veterans in this challenge as well. And you can tag us. I am at Captain_Taylor_Morgan. Shout out yours.
I'm at Ben.Crafted.
Sweet. And I will tag that in the show notes as well. So you can join us. Sweet. Ben, you ready to get after it?
Hell yeah, brother. Let's go.
Fuck yeah. I'm excited.
I already did my push-ups for the day, so I'm good there. I gotta just nail out 100 pull-ups and a couple hundred squats, but
easy.
Shit, man, that's nothing.
Easy. No problem. Fuck yeah.
I mean, literally this morning when I was thinking about, my chest burning out while I was doing these push-ups, I'm like, this is nothing compared to like the mental struggle that some of my buddies have had to deal with, and even myself. And you know what? That's just conquering mentality. You have to conquer it, and you will.
Damn right. All right. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for being strong and accepting whatever challenge I would have thrown at you, because that's just who we are, right? We're fucking captains. We face the challenge. So appreciate you coming on, and let's get the fuck after it.